We're live?
Well,
hey, good morning everybody. Live from Red Hook, New York. Today, out of the Martin Van Buren High School cookbook, we are going to make, or we're going to endeavor to make anyway, let's see how it turns out, French toast. We're going to use brioche, so we're going to make a brioche French toast with vanilla scented peaches. And we're going to do this in two parts because the peaches actually are better if you make them a day ahead and let them sit overnight, so the flavors marry. And the question you're probably all asking yourself is, am I wearing pants? And the answer is, I'm wearing pants. Well, anyway, let's get started. We have here just a can of diced peaches. You can use fresh, but just for the sake of ease, we're going to drain them. Leave them in the strainer. We're going to drain all of the liquid out. Here I have peach nectar. A can of peach nectar. Basically, any flavor would really work, but we're going to keep it consistent. If you want to use, they have strawberry, banana, and guava. They all will work pretty well. We're going to take approximately half the can, and we're going to start to warm that up. And a little more. About half the can. Now what we're going to do on the side, now this is not in the cookbook, I just added a little extra step because I like to do it, not really necessary. We're going to take about a tablespoon of the nectar and about a tablespoon of cornstarch. And to know cornstarch is only will dissolve in a liquid, so we're going to mix this all up, make a little slurry. There's a cooking term for you. And what this will do is this will thicken the whole thing up and make it more like a syrup. Again, not really necessary, but I like to do it. Now, while this is warming up, peaches are draining. Pure vanilla extract. Please, don't use the cheap stuff. Now again, we're going to eyeball this. It's going to be about a tablespoon. Now this is all done to taste. So we're going to stir that in, and of course, what would a syrup be without sugar? So we're going to take, this is a third of a cup measuring. Now if you're like me, I add sugar to sugar. So I like things a little bit on the sweet side. So let's try a third of a cup of sugar. And again, we will taste this once it comes to a boil. Now the reason that we're bringing it to a boil is because cornstarch will only thicken the liquid if the liquid is at a boil. Makes sense, huh? So now, a little bit of cinnamon, just a touch. There we go. What is that, an eighth of that? Just a little bit. Again, you know, these are mostly eyeballed recipes. You are, actually I would expect you to add these ingredients to your taste. And I'm going to put you on pause for a little while this liquid comes to a boil. I'm back. You miss me? Yes, I still have my pants on. So while this thing's coming up to a boil, it's almost there. I'm just going to take these peaches and cut them in half or thirds, depending on the size, just to make them more of a dice and more bite-sized. Real kind of simple there, just a rough cut. Nothing fancy. Now, as you can see, this is starting to come to a little bit of a boil. At this point, hold on, I'm a little ill-prepared. I need a tasting spoon. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this off the fire, stir it around a little bit, make sure all of the sugar is dissolved. Let's taste it. Boy, tastes good to me. Nice and sweet. Remember, I like it on the sweet side. I'm the first to admit it. The sweetness is really up to you. Yep. Does a watch pot ever boil? Again, another philosophical question we have to entertain while I'm making this. Looks like a watch pot does come to a boil eventually. So when you start to see it at a boil, and it is just coming to a boil now, maybe it's hard for you to see, but it is. Around the edges, here come the bubbles. We're going to turn the heat down to low. We're going to make sure the cornstarch is all dissolved into that little bit of nectar we set aside, and we're going to slowly add some to the liquid, stirring constantly, because this is where you don't really want any lumps. And we're just trying to thicken up this sauce a little bit. Well, actually, it's more of a syrup than a sauce. Basically, it's just a takeoff of a simple syrup, right? Liquid and sugar. We added some vanilla and some cinnamon. Now, the truth is, remember, this thing will only thicken when it's at a boil. That looks pretty good. Now we're going to turn the heat up a little bit again, bring it back. We're going to bring this to a boil and make sure we're at the thickness we desire. That ought to do it. Yep. Nice and syrupy. I'm going to add a little bit more, because when we add the peaches are going to release some liquid and thin this out again. This won't affect the flavor. This makes it more like a breakfast, like a maple syrup, a breakfast syrup. We are good to go. At this point, we're going to turn the heat off. You can see it's really rocking and rolling there. It's boiling. It's thickened up really nicely. Looking good, looking good. Let's take it off the heat. Now we're going to add the peaches. Back in. No need to cook anymore. Syrup is done, nice and thickened. These peaches are already part cooked, right, from the can. If they were fresh peaches, you'd have to cook them longer. Put it back on the heat just for a second. Take our trusting spoon. And that's kind of like what it looks like at this point. Now tomorrow, when we finish the dish, because this really should set up overnight. Tomorrow when we finish the dish, we'll adjust the seasoning, see if it needs any more vanilla or sugar, or if you wanted to get a little creative and make it more of a peach chutney, you could add some clove, nutmeg, and give it a little bit of spice and give it a little bit of a fall flavor. But that's up to you. Right now we're just going to go with the vanilla. These are done for now. It's best they sit overnight. Guess what? I'll see you tomorrow and we'll finish the dish. Well, we're on, huh? Okay, well, welcome back. Actually, this is tomorrow from yesterday, or today from yesterday, but it's, as I said, we put the peaches in the fridge overnight. I like to bring them out about an hour or so before I need them. Let them come to room temperature, and then slowly, on a very low heat, warm them up. You don't really need them hot. You just really want to get them warmed through. If they're too hot, then you got to wait till they cool down before you can eat them anyway. In this pan, I've taken a huge tablespoon of some Kerrygold butter and melting it slowly. We have some toasted almonds. Over here, we have 2 pieces of brioche, which I got from Brioche Loaf at Whole Foods. And you can use challah, you could use any bread that you really like. I like brioche because it's kind of sweet to begin with. You notice I kept the can, whatever was left of the nectar, I kept it for the next day, just to make sure that the compote didn't get too thick from the cornstarch. But this is kind of just the way I like it. We don't need it. And here you see the peaches warmed up. See just a little bit of steam coming off them. They're ready to go. Keep it on a very, very low heat. Butter is melting. In here, we have 2 eggs, maybe a tablespoon of milk, maybe a teaspoon of vanilla extract, again only the pure, and a shake of cinnamon. What we're going to do is just take a fork, we're going to mix it all together. Helps blend it, and it also aerates the eggs a little bit. Makes the custard a little bit lighter. There we are. We have everything more or less set to go here. The butter is still melting. We're going to put you on pause, and by the miracle of modern science, when I return, the butter will be melted. and go. I have to really thank my director and camera person, Donna, without whose help this certainly couldn't have been done. Well, anyway, we turned the heat up to about a medium heat. You can see the bubble is, the butter is just starting to crackle a little bit. At this point, the custard is made. Let's put the brioche in. Let it soak up some of that beautiful custard. And into the frying pan. Now you can hear that crackle, it's just what we're listening for. You notice plenty of butter in the pan. We got to cook both sides pretty evenly. And compote's all done. Now remember, any compote that's left over, you get a big bowl of vanilla ice cream for dinner and you cover it in warm peach compote. That, as Escoffier once said, doesn't suck. Okay, so the French toast is going. Done. We had the sliced almonds. Now we're just going to crust one side of the French toast. I'm going to pat it down a little bit. Just enough to put a thin crust on them, that's it. Good enough. We're cooking away. And once again, through the miracle of modern photography, we'll check back when the French toast is done on one side. Go. We're live. 2, 1, you got to count it down for me. I mean, this is a professional show here. Anyway, I forgot to mention I cut the brioche about 1 inch thick because I like it crusty but a little bit undercooked in the middle. These have been cooking about 5 minutes or so, and we're back. And let me grab one of these handy utensils, and hopefully we can flip this over and the almonds won't fall off and still stay on the bread. That would be nice. That one worked out well. I see nice and golden brown. And let's get this one. Oh, sometimes things work out. Most of the times they don't. All right, anyway, we're going to cook these about 5 minutes. We're not going to turn the toast over again. This way the almonds are kind of getting toasted and the crust is forming. The crust is pretty good on the outside of that bread. Your compote is ready. So I guess I'll see you when I'm ready to plate this. See you in about 4 minutes. And we're back. No, not yet. Now we're back. Okay. Well, anyway, this has been cooking for about 5 minutes or so. And hopefully I didn't burn it too bad. And the almonds crusted onto the other side of the toast. Let's find out. Take it this way. Just flip it over. Oh, ho, ho. Not too bad. And the next one. There we go. Almond crusted French toast. With vanilla scented peaches. You know I've got to try it, right? Let's see how we've done. Hot. Can't talk with my mouth full. But a couple of pieces of bacon, a couple scrambled eggs, fresh orange juice, good cup of coffee, breakfast, the most important meal of the day. Enjoy.